Welcome to Talk to Him, a show where we discuss self-help strategies, money, music, fashion, health, food, education, credit, relationships, and how it all links to financial success. Be sure to hit that like button, plus that subscribe button as well, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Shop Talk to Him and, of course, Talk to Him Jay. I'm your host for the show. My name is James Levesque. Talk to vibe with me. Yo, we have a very special guest on Zoom today. I thought he was gonna be out here, but it's okay. He's still in the A. Let me introduce you. This man is a founder, owner of a cell phone repair store called Gadgetry. Also owner of a credit repair company called Paperloaf. Actively coaching and mentoring everyday people to build passive income avenues using other people's money, leveraging their own personal business credit. Folks, I introduce you to my main man, Denroy Athill. Dens, how we doing, brother?
Good, man. I'm good. I'm good. Salute, salute. Love what you're doing, man.
Yo,
Seriously, I love this.
appreciate it, man. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate you, pulling up, man. I thought you was gonna be in the beam, but you
Man, I
still
thought
in
I
the
was gonna
A, brother.
be there. I had to reschedule. I'll be there soon, though. I'm
All
always
right,
home.
cool. Now we gonna make it happen, man. You know how we do, man. We make it happen any which way. So let me ask you this, bro. And I was reading like your bio. I was like, man, like I never knew you owned a cell phone repair company, bro. You know what I mean? Let me ask you this. How did you go from cell phone repair store gadgetry to repairing people's credit? Tell us a little bit about that journey, bro.
That's pretty easy. So, uh, I had my cell phone store, and like most small business owners, I started needing more capital, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I heard about this thing, business credit, business credit, business credit. Everybody's getting business credit, business credit, business credit, right? So I started looking into business credit. But one of the hindrances for me was my personal credit in order to obtain some of the higher limits of big business credit that I needed. So I had to
Mm.
go back and look at my personal credit. Now my personal credit was a wreck. And that's
Mhm.
mainly because when I left Boston, I came here in Atlanta. I came here to Atlanta in 2007, had a house built. Uh, so I was maybe 24 or 25 years old when I purchased my first home. Had that from 2007 to about 2014, something like that, 2015.
Mhm.
Long story short, I foreclosed on that property. My credit was smashed, bro. Right.
Yeah.
So to tie this all in, it was like a learning curve. And I'm purchasing books. I'm reaching out to this person and that person, and I just educated myself on the matter. So to start the cell phone company, to start the credit repair company, which is Paperloaf, that came from hacking away at business credit. And then I was able to obtain a significant amount of business credit for gadgetry. And instead of using it for gadgetry, I used it to start Paperloaf, to start another income stream for myself. Little,
Wow.
little funny way that occurred.
Yo, so you're self-taught, bro?
Yeah. Listen,
Wow.
this is what I will tell you. I think everybody can learn, right? It's not like there's still things I still need to learn because things are changing, and there's different scoring models. There's FICO 3, FICO 8, et cetera, Vantage 3.0. So once I got abreast of all of this different variances in knowledge in the credit repair industry, and more importantly, the laws, then I was able to take advantage of it. And then I was able to help friends and peers, and right. So once I was able to help a couple friends, this is before Paperloaf. Once I got, I fixed my own credit after having the foreclosure. And I was able to get another home, get a better vehicle and things of that nature.
Hmm.
Helped helped one of the gentlemen in my wedding that was in my wedding party. I helped him. He was able to get a house. Helped another friend. He was able to get a house. And I was like, wait a minute, hold up. I got to monetize this, right?
Yes.
I got to monetize this. And this is where I reached for the capital from gadgetry once I obtained it and went ahead and erected a website and, set up all the things to make the company a upstanding company and legitimate.
Yo, so the cell phone repair company, was that out here in Boston or was that in the A that you had it?
This was in Atlanta. So I had two stores. My first store was in Fairburn Road in Douglasville, a little small shop. Got my feet wet. Then I got a bigger store, and that store was jumping. So I closed the smaller store, just took care of the big store, and it was on and popping from there. And I actually learned the cell phone game. I definitely learned I was self-taught. So
Wow.
I worked at a shop and picked up things and learned from here, learned this, learned that, learned soldering, and then it just became repetition. Repetition is key. So I've been able to teach my wife, both my sons, my two older sons that are 20 and 17. They could fix phones, they could fix PlayStations.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you still
Trades are important, bro.
yeah, no, that is amazing, bro. I never even knew that. You know what's so crazy, bro? Like I'm thinking like, yo, I've known you for a little bit, ever since I used to get
Yeah,
the
you
cuts
thought
over
I
at
was a
Bugs
killer on the
basement.
court. You thought I was a killer on the basketball court. That's what it was.
Yeah. Yo, that's so
I do a
crazy,
lot of
bro.
things,
I'm
bro. I
like,
don't just
damn,
kill
that's
on the court.
crazy, dog. Like, yo, we
Yeah,
do
yeah.
go back, bro. You know what I mean? But I always,
True
we knew
story.
each other through like friends. We always say what's up, but we never really like kicked it like that. You know what I'm saying? So
Story.
it's some and it's funny, man, because as I'm going through this journey and getting in this, maneuver around in this financial world, I'm just meeting people that's doing things. So when I need it, you know what I mean? I'm just like, yo, who can I reach out to? Yo, Paperloaf, why'd you name the company Paperloaf?
So similar to how I named the gadgetry, a good friend of mine, Stephen Butler, right? He's like a mentor of mine, right? I called him about the gadgetry before we get to Paperloaf. I called him and I was like, man, I need a name for my cell phone company. And I was gonna name it this, I was gonna name it that. And he was like, man, these one word names are kind of hit and think about it. All these big, strong, prominent names are like Apple, Google, Microsoft, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So just think of something that goes with what you're doing so you don't limit it. Because I was just going to say blah, 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 cell phone repair, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I fix more than cell phones. I could fix anything. So I got with gadgetry. So then now when it came to Paperloaf, I kind of had the same thought process. I just want something simple, something somewhat catchy, something that stands out, that's unique and innovative. So I always had this little catchphrase, let's bake bread. Hashtag let's bake bread, right? So the meaning behind that is, let's bake bread. Let's make money. Let's make bread. And I kind of just had this idea, like I want to make paper, right? That to me personally, I want to make a lot of paper, right? And I
Right.
just don't want to make, slices. I want to make a loaf. I want to make a whole loaf of bread. You
Oh,
feel me? And
yeah,
then I
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of just paper loaf because me and my wife was just in my room putting things together and trying to, and a lot of names were horrid. I don't even know if people like this one, but this is what we came up with. I was like, oh, that's it, paper loaf. That's unique. Say less.
Wow.
Put
Yeah,
it in
that's
that
what's
little
up.
website. You could put it in to see if it's taken. It wasn't taken. That's what we're going with. Let's move forward.
Love that. I love that, bro. Yo, so I hear you talk about your wife. How has she been like instrumental towards like your journey in business, bro?
Man, she's everything, honestly.
Yeah.
Um, she's my secretary. She's my janitor. She's my treasurer. She's my security guard. She's my psychologist. You get what I'm saying? Like she's
Yeah.
she's she's everything. She's my go-to. She's my Scottie Pippen if I'm MJ. You know what I mean?
I love that. Yo, that's yeah, man, I love that, man, because I feel like in my especially, with building this brand, with Talk to Him, I have a significant other that that helps me build this because you can't do everything on your own, bro. You can't really do
Yeah,
anything on your own. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It definitely take a team and somebody that's on your side, that's rooting for you, that's gonna go hard or even harder than you do as well, too. You know what I'm saying?
You aligned. You get what I'm saying? And two brains, two minds are better than one. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? There's talents that she has that I don't, and there's talents I have that she doesn't. But the good thing about us is we teach each other. So same like I taught her about the cell phones. She rehabs furniture. She makes t-shirts for our merch, and
yeah.
she uses the Cricut machine. You know what I mean? Like she real handy with it.
Yeah, I like that shirt that I was gonna say that shirt that you got on is fire, bro. I like
I
that. What does
got
that say?
you,
Secure
got
the
you. I'm gonna
bag?
send you a little gift package.
Yes, I would
Yeah,
really
man. We're
appreciate
gonna
that. I
go
love
over that.
gifts then. I love gifts,
I got a
brother.
little merch. I got a little merch page on my
Yo,
link tree.
so let me ask you this. How do tell me go me help me through the process. How do you assist everyday people build passive income avenues using other people's money, right? Can you take me to that process? Like how do you do that?
Well, the first step in that foundation is to look at your credit, right? Right. So the thing with OPM is obtaining other people's money. To me, is being able to have a good credit report, right? And having a nice, clean credit report is what's going to give you a positive credit score. Now, with this credit score, you can leverage by obtaining new credit cards, right? Not
Mm,
only credit cards, but credit lines and credit loans, right? So on any given Sunday, who doesn't want to have 20, 30, 40, 50,000 in their wallet or in their purse? Who doesn't want that, right?
that'd be
So
nice
we
right now.
start first with I'm telling you, and it's possible. It's
Yeah.
more than possible. So you start with fixing your credit. Now, this is what tricks people because they're like, okay, I get it. Fix my credit. How do I fix my credit? Right.
Yes.
So the little trick that everybody could write down right now is most people have access to Credit Karma, right? I don't necessarily focus on the score. So right now we're not going to focus on the score. But if everybody gets their cell phone out, I'll give you a second. You look at your Credit Karma. When you see your scores, it's going to give you two scores. When you see those two scores, if you tap on it, well, I have an Android, but if you tap on the score,
Mhm.
it pulls up a your credit factors. Those credit factors to me is like a legend. So it tells you where you need to be in order for that to be in a positive state, right? So you should have less than 3 inquiries. You should be under 30% for your overall utilization, which means if you have $1,000 credit card, you should not exceed $300 of that limit that you were allotted of 1,000.
Mhm.
Um, you should have more than 12 accounts and a good mix of accounts, at least 3 revolving and 3 installments. But most of this you can learn on your Credit Karma because in those credit factors, in those boxes, it tells you where you are and then it also tells you where you need to be. The legend will show that you're either in red, yellow, or green, and it's your job to put it in green. The hardest things to do are dispute collections and erroneous information, and that's where I come in. Everything else you can kind of learn for yourself because everything you can do for yourself. So once you have a good credit report that denotes a good credit score, now all you need to do is apply for specific credit cards. And there are cards that you can find out what credit scores on what scoring model that you need to be able to apply and get approved. More importantly, not just apply, but to get approved. So on one Sunday, after we've ironed out your credit, it took us 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months, whatever. Now, this random Sunday, we're going to apply, right? So we're going to apply for 5 different credit cards, maybe 2 American Express, 2 Chase, 1 Capital One, et cetera, all at one fall swoop. And then out of those 5 credit cards, let's say James got 3 of them. One was a $15,000 limit credit card, one was 7, one was 5. How much money does he have right there?
You got a
20
nice
plus
little
thousand. Now,
yeah,
with
you got
that 20 plus thousand, what can you do? Most people, James, right? No disrespect. will take $20,000, go on a cruise, take $20,000, go get rims for the car, $20,000 and buy furniture. Now, what that does is you're getting material possessions and things that can't pay back the free money that you just obtained, right? The trick is to take that OPM and put it into some type of service or some type of passive income avenue that you can yield from.
Can you
Get
give
what
us
I'm
an
saying? That
example?
will pay
What's an
back
example?
the credit.
Yeah.
Toro, go to the auction, get a credit card, learn how to liquidate the card, or just use the card and pay for Nissan Altima at the auction. You can have maybe 2 or 3 credit cards, use one to purchase the vehicle, right?
Yeah.
To purchase the asset, another one to rehab the asset, market and brand it, put it up for sale, flip it, do it again.
Damn. A lot of people's not really thinking like that, bro. Yeah, because the average person is gonna take that money and it's gonna go ball out, you know what I mean, gonna splurge on something, you know what I mean? But a lot of times people's not really thinking about, all right, how can I flip this into something that's passive, you know what I mean, to be a passive income. So quick question, right? Like when it comes to like the three credit, what is it, like Equifax, TransUnion, and what's the third one? Equifax,
Experience.
Experian, right? Should does like let's say do does are all of them equal? You know what I mean? Or does one matter towards the other, or is it always reporting towards the same thing? You know what I mean? Like,
I would say all 3 credit bureaus are equal,
yeah.
but understand that when you're applying for credit, whether it's the mortgage, auto loan, uh, just an overall loan, line of credit, a credit card, that vendor that you're going to possibly obtain credit from is seeking your credit report and credit score from one of those uh, credit bureaus
Hmm.
based on a specific scoring model. So they may look for you for, like, I know for sure if you're going for a home loan, right? They're going to look at FICO 8 and most likely look at all 3 of your scores on all 3 of your bureau scores on FICO 8 scoring model, right? So not to confuse anyone, but very simply, you could have you could apply for your Nissan, and the Nissan will go and ask Experian for your report and TransUnion, but it won't ask Equifax. So then you'll have 2 inquiries on both, as well as if you get approved for it, then you'll, 2 months from now, it'll show up on your credit report for both Experian and TransUnion, but not Equifax because they didn't get any information from them.
Wow. Wow. I never even knew that, bro. Yo, you've been putting me onto so much game lately, bro. Like, I'm like, damn, bro. Like, didn't really know what he be talking about out here.
Man,
I
look,
mean,
I screwed up a lot of stuff, and that's why I know I'm tired of screwing stuff up. So I screwed up a lot of stuff on my credit, and I was able to situate it all. So it's really just education. The more the better you can help yourself. You get what I'm saying?
yeah.
And that's
So,
why we're here. That's why it's built for
yo,
this platform.
absolutely, man. So when it comes to credit repair, right? Is is it like a one size fits all, you know what I mean, for a client, or is it like each client you work with, is it different? You know what I mean? So
It's
is it
usually it's usually it's usually always different because everybody's report and what they need is unique. Um, but in the same sense, that is what's similar to me because I look at so many credit reports and fix so many people's credit that sometimes they don't need my help. It may be just, hey, James, pay down this credit card, pay down this credit card, right? Maybe you need to call these companies and see if you can get these inquiries deleted or what have you. It could be small tweaks. Not the only time people really need my help is to dispute their collections or just to simply educate them. Because most of the people, once I'm done with you, you don't need to see me again, unlike some other credit repair companies.
Wow. Yeah.
I teach you along the way, especially when I leave it like an open book. You have a platform that we can communicate through that's secure on my website, and you can ask me questions and I answer them for you. You see all the letters that I write. I've actually had my credit worked on by another company, may they remain nameless, and I never saw the letters that they would send out. It was proprietary. So I never saw the letters. But with me, if I was doing James credit, he could log into his personal portal and see exactly what I sent to the bureau. Now, somebody smart would see that and just start to educate themselves and go, okay, for this vendor, why did he say this? Why did he send that? Why is this a validation? Why is, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you'll start learning different tactics, asking questions. Man, what is a validation? How many inquiries is too much? Should I apply for this? Should I apply for that? And asking a lot of questions is how you're going to get a lot of answers. And then if I taught James, James would be able to teach Bobby, and Bobby would be able to teach Phil. But it's just education that we're trying to make more common sense. You understand what I'm saying?
No,
So
absolutely.
I'll say this, right? Not to be long-winded, but because I knew credit was because I knew I owed capital and I could leverage it by having OPM, I wanted to do the same for my family. So the first experiment was with my son, who's now 20. So when he was 17, I added him to all my credit cards, especially the ones, well, all of them at that point were in good standing. But to the people out there, if you want to add your children on, or if you need a boost in your credit score, know that you could piggyback off of someone that has a credit card in good standing. I don't really care about the limit. If it's $20,000, $5,000, 50,000, I don't really care about that. What I care about is the age. That's what's going to boost your score up, is having age added to your credit report. So for my
Mhm.
son, who was 17 at the time, when I added him onto my credit card from Chase, I had that card for 8 years. So it created his credit report that it started 8 years ago, if that makes sense.
That
It
makes
gave
perfect
him
sense.
tenure. It gave him tenure on his credit report. So by the time he wanted to obtain credit, he was able to buy a foreign vehicle for about $30,000, and that was his first car. You know what I
Wow.
mean?
Yeah.
So now we're working, as he's 20, still living with me, we're working on getting him a home. He's already approved with a specific amount, which is good for where we live in Georgia, that he could purchase a home, not necessarily where we want to be, but he can still purchase a home and rent it out and have someone pay his mortgage for him. By the time he's 25, 26, 27, maybe we have it paid, maybe we don't, but he has an asset in his name, all from him having good credit.
Yo, so how old does the child have to be? Does he have to be 18, or can he be like a minor?
They
How
could
old
be
does he have
they
to be?
could be they could be 11. You know what I mean? But they're not going to be able to sign a contract until they're 18. They're not going to be able to apply for specific credit until they're 18, till they're
Yeah,
legal.
yeah. But he can definitely be an authorized user on there. You can put him on there and help him build his stuff. And then as he gets older and he gets of age, that credit that'll be able to apply. Oh, snaps. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now think about that when you're a family man like myself who has
Yeah.
a wife and 5 children, right? So my wife is on all of my credit cards. All three of my elder children that are 20, 17, and 15, they're on all of my credit cards, right? Um, and then vice versa. So I'm on my wife's credit cards, etc. So it makes your report look a little bit thicker, and all of our credit cards are in good standing, and we all know not to exceed certain limits. If we do exceed the certain limit, here's a gem. Then we know that, knowing the difference between the statement date and the date that it posts, which is like a screenshot of your credit bill of your let's say you have a credit card with Chase, the statement date is on the first, and then the billing date is like the fifth. Let's say the billing date being the fifth is when they screenshot it, or they basically stamp that and it goes to your credit report every single month on that specific date. So everybody wants to find out what that date is, your statement date, or your billing date. It's usually the statement date, though. Let me not confuse anyone. When it takes a screenshot of what your limit is and what your balance is to the limit, right? So um, your credit card limit is $1,000. You're right now at a $500 balance, right?
Yeah.
Today is, what's today's date?
Today's the 22nd.
Okay, so today's the 22nd. Let's say the statement date is the 27th. That's when it's going to screenshot and send it to your credit report. So right now, we've exceeded the 30% utilization because we're at $500 balance of a $1,000 limit. So we're at 50% utilization. So what we need to do is pay $200, maybe $201 now, today, so that it posts before the 27th, because the 27th is when it's going to screenshot and send it to your credit report. And then that number, let's say you're at $299 of your $1,000 limit. So you're at a 29% utilization. It's going to statement date, screenshot, send it to your credit report, and send it as a 29% utilization for your credit card for that specific card. Now, all your cards in total, let's say it's 5 of them. If they're all under 30%, you don't have anything to worry about. Your overall utilization is going to be obviously under 30%.
Wow. Wow. So
So as long as you know these dates in your head, I could use all 10,000 of one of my cards, right? And know that I could kick it back before next month so that it clocks. Or you get what I'm saying?
yeah.
It's just how, and knowing the education of how to use your credit in specific and various ways. You know what I mean? So some people don't want to have multiple credit cards. I don't know about that one. But right now I have 11 credit cards. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I'm only saying that because I will be applying for more credit cards. You know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
cards we can get that have no limit. Like that's the biggest stunt on some of my friends when I tell them, yeah, this card, I pull out my wallet, has no limit. I have to pay it at the end of the month. I have to pay whatever I use at the end of the month. But think about it, for us that have children, us that have family members, mothers and fathers that are elderly, us that are homeowners. You want to have various credit cards and have them for specific needs. So I'll have credit cards for groceries. James, I don't use my debit card anymore. It makes no sense. My credit cards are what gives me all the rewards, all the kickbacks. If I spend $100 at Kroger, I get $30 back. Like, why wouldn't I do that? So all I use is my credit cards. I have a debit card, but it's just in my wallet for no reason because all I do is send money from my checking account to pay my credit cards. That's all I ever use that for. Everything else I use is on my credit
Wow.
cards.
Wow. So
Certain cards are for specific things. This one is to protect my car if I need to fix it and what have you.
yo, mad gems. You just breaking these mad gems. So, all right. So people shouldn't even worry about like their due date. They should pay their credit card bills before their due date.
Absolutely. If you could pay it, think about it this way. Let's say your minimum balance is $50. I would never say to you to pay the minimum unless you're in a financial bind that requires you to only pay the minimum because that's all you can afford.
Right.
But based on the interest rate, right, you may be paying 18, 20, 17, 12%. That's 12 cents per dollar, bro. Right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to carry uh, strong balances. You know what I mean? You want to be really, really smart about how you use the credit.
Yo, all right, let me ask you this, right? Let's say you get a new client, right? What um what three basic questions do you ask them to kind of get a feel for what kind of service that they need?
Well, I would usually ask them, do they know what's hindering their credit score? One. Two, what are they planning on doing once their credit score is where they need it to be?
Yeah.
Excuse me. And the the third is, have they worked on their credit before?
Hmm.
So once I kind of get those answers, I can kind of guesstimate what you necessarily need. Um, it gets a little bit harder because guessing is not good for credit, right? Because everybody's um, what they need is it varies and it's different. So the good thing I do at Paperloaf is give people an audit, right? So rather than just guesstimate, I'm able to give you an audit, charges you $1, provide you with an audit, and tell you exactly what's on your credit report, and then we could do an honest consultation.
Okay. Yo, that's. So okay, let me ask you this, right? Let's say if somebody did work, had somebody worked on their credit before, maybe you've gone through this experience, and now you're currently working on their credit. Like, what's that process like? Are you like, damn, did this person even do anything? Or like, have you run into that? Like, you know what I mean? Somebody's
Yeah,
like, oh, this
a lot,
person worked on
a
my
lot of
credit,
times
but
actually.
no, go
Yeah,
ahead.
a lot of times because there's sometimes people paid for credit sweep, so they just did one kind of generic letter that they sent out to all of their vendors on their credit report. Um, it could be that they had somebody just take care of inquiries for them. It could be that they had somebody send one specific letter to take out one specific collection item on their credit report, or they were going, month after month, round after round, like I do, until they get items deleted or they catch something that's not correct by FCRA regulations, something of the sort. But I see a lot of people that have worked on their credit before. Um, but what happens is a lot of the times I find the education that we all have is like it's not the same. So we need to do a real strong effort to making sure, which is what I'm going to start doing in terms of a niche, but reaching out to people in high school and what have you, so they can start with good credit. You get what I mean? And
Right.
and and iron it out from there. So you start out the gate with good credit. I see a lot of people that have worked on their credit, and just to be honest, sometimes they got their credit fixed and then they screwed it up themselves all over again. And that's where the education is so paramount. You get what I'm saying? So you
Yeah.
could have paid somebody thousands of dollars to fix your credit. You obtained credit cards, right? But then you still exceeded the utilization. Or like me and you were talking about, a couple weeks ago, you could go to a dealership. This is where education comes in, right? And you know, if somebody asks me this question, like, man, I really need a car. How do you think I should go about, getting a car and so on and so forth? So I'll ask them who they bank with. I prefer a credit union. Okay, I bank with Bank of America. Okay, how long have you been with Bank of America? I've been with Bank of America 8 years. Okay, so they see all of your checks from your employment coming in every week or every 2 weeks. Awesome. All right. You should seek the auto loan through Bank of America or through Navy Federal or Delta Credit Union or what have you. That way, it's one inquiry, just one, and they usually tell you what you're approved for in terms of a number. They may ask you and say, how much do you want? And James will say 25. And they may come back and say, all right, you're approved for 28.5. I will tell you to use the 28.5, don't exceed it. There's a reason why they only approve you for that, right? On the other spectrum, some people could go to the Honda dealership or Bob's Auto, and Bob's Auto uses five different companies for financing. So they're
Mhm.
gonna they're gonna shop for rates that's best for them, right? Because they're a company and they're a for-profit company. So they just ran your credit, James, since you went to Bob's Auto to go look at this nice BMW they got on the lot.
Mhm.
You're thinking about getting that car. You go and apply for the car, right? You go apply to see if you're going to get approved for the car, and they ran your credit with ABC financing, 123 financing, XYZ financing, 789 financing, four different companies in the matter of 15 minutes. So then now you hit me up going, bro, why is my credit score drop like that? Like, what's going on? And then I look into your credit report and see, you know, five or six inquiries all on the same day, and it originated from one vendor, which was Bob's Auto. You get what I mean? So
Yes.
the better education in that sense is to go with who you bank with and see what you can get approved for and rock it that way. Because usually they'll tell you what you're approved for, how much you'll pay per month, what the interest rate is. So you know before you even go to the dealership how much you're going to pay per month, because you know you're approved for 38.5, and maybe the car you want's only 30 grand. So if you spent all 38.5 at 7.9%, you're going to pay $430 a month, and you already know, okay, I'm good with that. You get what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. So people should not just go to the dealership. We should go to our bank first, you know, find out what it is that we can approve for if we want to get an auto loan. Then after the bank approves us, they're giving us a check. Then we go to the dealership. Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Absolutely.
Yo, so you mentioned something, right? And which kind of like as a business owner, I always thought like because I'm learning too, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yo, as a business owner, I always thought like my personal credit was different from my business credit. So are you saying that they're linked together?
They're not necessarily linked together, but let me explain it in a simple way. When you want to obtain business credit, they want to talk to them. LLC wants to obtain business credit, but the CEO is James Levesque. So that bank that wants to give you this significant amount of money, they just want to see who the CEO is and how his finances are or her finances are. So
Got
that's
it.
what they call a PG, a personal guarantor, right? So they're going to say, hey, James, do you mind if we look at your personal credit? Your business credit looks to be fine. You have this, you have that, et cetera, et cetera. You have net 30s, net 60s. That's another thing we could get into
Mhm.
on your business credit score. But would you mind, especially if it's the first, second, third time you're applying for specific business credit, especially cards? Um, they may ask for a PG or a personal guarantor, which is James Levesque signing on the dotted line. It's best to get business credit without the PG, but in certain cases, you may have to say okay to that for your first or second card. Now, just be aware that's why you want to have good personal credit so that when they do ask for that, you're not going to say no, 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 no. You could just say, yeah, go ahead. They take a look at it. They see that your score is 720. They come back and approve you for 45,000 for your business.
Oh, okay, okay. Damn, so what
So
instance do they
it is two separate things.
yeah. Now I was gonna say in what
It
scenario
is two
do
separate things. This I will say.
yeah.
Sorry, not to cut you off, but
No,
this
go
I
ahead,
will
go ahead.
say. Um, when you do tie your PG into your business, right? You got approved for the James Levesque got approved for the Capital One card for $30,000, and they asked for the PG. He said okay. So you gave them your social security number. They also have your EIN for your business. Everything is great for the 2 years. You did what you needed to do with the 30,000, what have you, and then you had a bump in the road financially, and now
Mhm.
you're not paying that $30,000 back. This is why I don't want us to go crazy and get certain cards that are tied to the PG, because if things go awry, and you can't make payments to the business credit card, then it's also going to affect you on your personal credit report because they have your social.
Ooh, okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
I
you
got
want to
it.
you want to get to a point where you could not front, you could approve and say, okay, cool, here's my social, and they approved you for that PG on that Capital One card for 30 grand. But I wouldn't tell James to go ham on that card. I would just let it sit there, and we apply for other cards without a PG, because they most likely you'll get approved for the other cards without a PG because this one approved you, right?
Yeah.
And reason being, we don't want all your cards to be tied to a PG, because if something goes awry, then, similar to Trump, you can just dissolve your LLC and your debt can dissolve with the company. He's done it time and time and time again. But if everything is tied to your PG, then it's going to kill your personal credit report and kill you financially.
Wow. Okay. Damn, that's a lot, bro. Okay, let me ask you this, right? Because I was doing a little bit of research. What's the Fair Credit Reporting Act, right? Like, is that there put to protect the consumer?
Absolutely. That's like one of the best. Listen, that's a great question, right? Everyone should just look that up, right? Not just take it from me, just look it up. But the FCRA is there to protect you, you at home viewing this. It protects you. So as long as you know what specific laws, what they can and cannot do, then you are able to dispute it yourself because you know how to dispute it and you know what they can and cannot do. So, for example, you have an account with T-Mobile. Uh, whatever happened, you just didn't pay it for whatever reason. You just stopped paying it, so
Yeah.
it goes to collections. So now on your credit report, you have a charge-off item with T-Mobile, and now a collections also pops up on your credit report, which is ABC Collections, and they're collecting on behalf of T-Mobile. Now, someone like me, right, the owner of Paperloaf, my education would make me look into your credit report and make sure that if the original item from T-Mobile is charged off, they should not be requesting any balance from you. It should be at zero. If they're requesting a balance, then I request deletion because they charged it off. So they charge that amount off their books, and in their fiscal year for taxes, they're gonna write that off, right? Now, ABC Collections purchased the debt from T-Mobile. Let's say you owe $200 to T-Mobile. ABC Collections will purchase that debt, let's say, for $124. That's how they make their money. And they're going to collect from you for $200 or try to, right? Now, what I would do is when I see this on the report and go, okay, this is the same amount, this is the same amount, they're asking, ABC Collections is asking for this same amount as well as T-Mobile. I will send a letter to T-Mobile and say, please validate this debt. It looks like you charged this item off, and it's written off your books, and the balance should be at zero. I request deletion. That item is now deleted. Now the collections and the way I'm going to deal with them is I'm going to say, if you ABC Collections can validate this debt, please send me any documentation that or let's say I was doing this for James Levesque, that James Levesque signed. Please send it to us within 30 to 45 days so that you can validate this debt. If you cannot do so, then I'm going to assume, since I know that I did not set this account up with ABC Collections, I started it with T-Mobile. So then if they can't validate it, which they cannot, then they got to go. It has to be deleted, which is a funny thing because sometimes these collection companies will call you, right, James? They
Yep.
call you on your phone, they call you on your home phone, your cell phone, and they say, can we speak to James Levesque? And you say, yes, this is he. Sir, can you validate the last four of your social? James, they may not even have it. You understand?
Wow.
They may not even have your last four of your social because they're ABC Collections, right? They may not have all this information on you. They may say, this call is recorded for quality and purposes, et cetera, and then go into lulling you into asking questions so they can get all of this information so they can validate you correctly. So someone like me, now when I try to validate that, they already got a lot of information from James because he didn't know. And he was just talking to ABC Collections, validating himself with information they didn't have to begin with. Now they have it. Remember you know how they ask you, do you have any other numbers you want to give us? Do you have
Yeah.
another address do you want to provide us with?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all
Yeah.
for them to track you. They on top of their money. So if they can't find you, you get what I mean?
Yeah.
They want to know who your next of kin is, the relative, et cetera, what your address is, what your employer is, et cetera, et cetera. Just education is all we're just going over in a brainstorm, so you guys could understand these little small nuances that screw people up, and you can iron this out yourself as long as you know. So now you know.
Yo, gems. That's a gem. All right. So when I was doing a little bit of research, right, is there a difference between the Fair Credit Reporting Act and then the Fair Debt Collection Practicing Act? Is there a difference, or is it kind of like the same thing?
It's kind of the same thing, but it's absolutely different because obviously the wording is different. But it's how could I explain that? That's a hard one. Um, one is protecting all the laws as a consumer, and the other one is and the debt practicing is looking over the the vendors and making sure they're doing the right thing. FCRA is not really looking over the vendors themselves, but when you dispute, they have to abide by the law that's proprietary for consumers and vendors.
Okay. Yo, what about all right, so let's say this, right? So what you just explained to me, can an individual like pursue like a lawsuit against like a credit bureau, like a credit bureau?
Damn right.
Can they sue them?
Absolutely right. Yeah. Yeah. In that same scenario where we request within 30 to 45 days that they validate the debt. If they don't validate the debt, my next letter would be requesting deletion. And if they did not delete within the specific period, which is the 45 days that they have to delete by law, then we're going to court. They're
Oh,
going to delete before it goes there. They're not paying out. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Credit is a real funny thing. So I think people think when these companies are allotting credit to you and they're approving you for for $15,000 on that piece of plastic card that they send you in the mail, like that it's real money. It's not. It's not real money, right? What they're doing most of the time is saying, "Okay, James, here, we're going to approve you for this credit card. It has a $500 limit. Let's see what he does with it."
yeah, yeah,
James goes out there immediately. $500 is nothing, right? Respectfully, it's just you're gonna go out there and exceed the 30%. What's that? 150? You're
yeah,
gonna exceed that. You took the girl to the movies, you took her out to dinner the same night, ba ba ba, you put gas in the car, the next day you went and got groceries, you already exceeded the 30%, right? So it's gonna make it harder for you to get another card because they're looking at what you were gonna do with that first 500. You get what I'm saying? And to
yeah,
begin with, that $500 is just this digital number, right? What they're banking on is the interest and you going to work to pay back what you didn't have to begin with. That's why I'm so serious about using credit to make money because it's money you didn't have to begin with. Take that $10,000 and go invest it somewhere. Go create that business. Go set up that website. Go write that book. Go publish that book. You get what I'm saying?
yes, sir.
That's what you do with the credit money. Don't. I mean, everybody. To each their own, right? But it just makes sense to use OPM to use other people's money to leverage yourself into some type of passive income avenue that will eventually pay off the credit, and then you're just yielding a dividend.
Damn,
And you
that's
didn't
crazy.
use your money to start.
Yeah,
So we see this generational wealth thing and we say all these cliches, but if you are really hit, then you'll get on it right now because let's say it's James wifey and he has two kids. Let's talk about the future real quick, right? With education, if if James got good credit, then he could have a nice car with low interest. He could obtain his home, right? He could have 5 to 7 credit cards in his name. Let's say that's about 50 grand. But then his wife has 5 to 7 credit cards in her purse. That's another 50 grand. For
yeah,
example, his eldest son has now just got approved for his first credit card. His first credit card out the gate is $10,000. Y'all are walking around with $60,000 in credit. That can start a family business. That's what I'm talking about. So me, who has 5 children, 3 of them, well, two, my eldest could use his credit, could use my wife's credit. I could use my credit. My son is 17. So next year we're already working on him. We're going to start working on getting him his car, get him his house, get him an asset, and they're all going to live with me. And we're just going to, you get what I'm saying?
yes, yes, absolutely. Yo, I got two more questions for you, right? So
Shoot.
what are 4 tips on how people can stay on top of their credit? Some of these people who's listening, you mentioned them already, but like the 4 major tips on how people can stay on top of their credit, making sure that my credit is good. What are 4 tips that you can give us?
4 tips. Let's see if I can give you 4 tips. I'll say it this way. Your credit is your financial health, right? And we all should check up on our financial health once a week. If not once a week, most definitely once a month, because every month for sure it's changing.
Yeah.
So if you're not if you don't want to pay for Experian or pay for Equifax, then just download Credit Karma. Credit Karma is now daily, so it gives you your Vantage 3.0. That's a scoring model. It gives you your scores based on Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian on that Vantage 3.0 scoring model. A lot of people diss Vantage 3.0 because it's that none of the companies actually use that scoring model for anything. But nonetheless, what I want you to focus on is the legend and the credit factors in the Credit Karma. So I don't know about 4 points, but the 1, 2, 3, 4 points would be use your Credit Karma to learn how to educate yourself to align and correct your credit report. Don't worry about the score. Worry about how many accounts do I have? What is my total utilization? If my utilization is 0, that may mean I do not have any credit cards. So you need to obtain some.
Hmm.
Uh, what's your oldest card, or what's your oldest item of credit? What's your newest item of credit? How many inquiries do you have? So just using that Credit Karma, the credit factors within Credit Karma is the most easiest way to stay abreast of your credit report. And everything that's in red or yellow, you want to change green. If you don't know how, you either log on to paperloaf.com. You can go on my Instagram page, my Facebook page, look me up. You don't even have to look me up. Just do yourself a favor and figure out how you better your financial health.
Yeah.
Credit Karma is the easiest way to do so because it's right in your pocket.
Yo, as you were saying that, right? It made me think of this moment. So I forgot what I was doing. I think I was trying to get like I don't know, maybe apply for something. I was applying for something, and this girl, she was kind of looking over my credit, right? And she said she came back like, "Oh man, yo, you too handsome for your credit to look like."
Wow.
Yeah.
She didn't say that. She said
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I was like, damn, son. You
That's a
know,
gut blow.
yo.
That's a
No,
gut
it's
blow.
crazy because
Listen,
as you
I'll say
mentioned,
this: when I see people's credit, they think it's worse. They be like, "Oh man, when you see my credit, bro." Listen, I had a foreclosure. I've had repossessions upon repossessions upon repossession. I had to iron all of that out. Nobody's seen. I've seen it all.
yeah.
I've seen scores that have no score. Like I've seen no score.
What?
Not like 417. My score 555. I work with that all day. That doesn't scare me. I've seen people that have no score. I've seen bankruptcies, foreclosures, divorce. I've seen it all. You know,
Yeah.
it's just about knowing what to do. Don't have that happen no more, James. Don't have nobody looking your credit and they saucing you up like that. Like,
Yeah.
damn,
Yeah, it was
that's crazy.
it was one of
That's
those,
crazy.
man. I was like,
I'd have been
it's
low key in
cool.
my
You know what I
feelings.
mean?
Like, what you said?
Yeah.
What's your
Yo,
score? You should have said, what's your score?
yo.
What's your score?
She caught me off guard with that one, Des. Yo, okay, let me ask you this. This
See,
is my
look, now
final.
you know you could have just hit it with the put me on one of your credit cards, then, ma.
Yo, that was yeah, sure. You know how like sometimes when somebody say something, it catches you like, damn. Yeah, all right, you got that one, yo. You got that one. I can't even make a comeback, you know. All right, let me ask you this, man. What makes your company Paperloaf different than any other credit repair company that's out there? You know, what separates you?
I'll definitely say I got it out the mud. No cliche. So you're talking to the owner of a company that has actually had a foreclosure, that has actually had repossessions, that has actually had collections. I've dealt with a lot of the things that you're dealing with as a client to me, right? So it's not just me who's had perfect credit his whole life. And now I'm just saying to you, look at my score. It's 803. I can help you get a no, no, no. I've my lowest score, I think, was like 553. and I had to climb. I had to climb from that. You know what I mean? So imagine the feeling of going from 553 to what was the 817 was the highest I've ever been. Like imagine that. You
Ooh,
know, it might have took 2 years, but like imagine that. You know what I mean? Knowing, imagine the feeling of swiping your card. You know it's gonna go through. Like
right.
I know it's going through. Right now,
Yeah.
I'm only saying that because there was times where I would swipe and be like, approved. I, or it didn't get approved, and I'm like, oh man, I might have just activated that, or hold on, I got to run to the car, get my other card. You know, you kind of embarrassed. No, I
Yeah.
don't have that problem no more, brother. You know what I mean? And to give and to usher in wealth into our families. I don't know anybody just I don't know the millionaires that I know. All of them have good credit. All of them use credit. Like even when they have this strong and enormous amount of money, they're still using their credit. They still don't want to use their money. They want to use OPM because
That's
it's
true.
out there. And with education, it's usually, damn near free to obtain. It's just a lot of work, or sometimes no work at all, depending on what you trying to get approved for. You know what I mean? But credit is everything. You get what I'm saying? It affects your insurance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It affects your job. It affects everything. So, your financial health is uber important, bro. Uber.
Absolutely. Yo, we're gonna end this on that, man. Yo, how can people get in touch with you, Dens? Give us your socials, your websites, all these things, bro.
Man, at underscore paperloaf underscore at DIY Denroy DID. My first name is Denroy, Denroy. My last name's Athill. You can look me up on Facebook that way. The website for Paperloaf is paperloaf.com. I also have a link tree, which is linktree / paperloaf. And on there, I have merch. I have different credit cards that you can apply for through my referrals. I have secured credit cards that are from Paperloaf that you can apply for and definitely get approved for by fronting a certain amount. And we have merch on there. We have these secure the bag shirts. We got Paperloaf merch. I'm gonna send you some stuff, man. I got you.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
yeah, this was lovely, man. I like what you're doing, man. I got to give you your flowers.
Thank you,
I like
brother.
what you're doing. I definitely wanted to be a part of it, so I wanted to reach out to you and
Yo,
and bridge the gap, man. Like when I see great men like yourself putting on something like this and the platform you got and how nice it looks and the education you giving out for freebie, I need to
yeah.
be a part of that, man.
Thank you, brother. Nah, we definitely gonna link, bro. We definitely gonna be doing something, man. Yo, Dens, thank you so much. Before we leave, I'm gonna leave you guys with a quote. Before you can be good, you've got to be bad. But before you can even be bad, you've got to try. You can be the most common person in the world and still do something uncommon with your life. The only way not to be controversial is to be average and ordinary. And that is from the man himself, Mr. Art Williams. I'm your main man, Jay. Live, love, light. I holla. Peace and blessings.